Welcome to the Head Shepherd Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Ferguson, CEO at Next and Agri International, where we help livestock managers get the best out of their stock. Before we get started, a big thanks to our three fantastic sponsors. Allflex, part of MSD, perhaps better known as Cooper's Animal Health in Australia, offers one of New Zealand and Australia's largest livestock product portfolios with a comprehensive suite of animal health and management products. Heininger is a one-stop shop for wool harvesting and animal fibre removal. The Heininger team have a deep understanding of livestock agriculture, backed by Swiss engineering and a family business dedicated to manufacturing the best. ProA Livestock Equipment have been delivering industry-leading livestock handling systems to producers across Australia, New Zealand and beyond for the last 25 years to improve on-farm safety, efficiency and profitability. We are grateful to our sponsors for their support, helping us bring Head Shepherd to you each week. And now it's time to get on with this week's episode. Welcome back to Head Shepherd. Great to have you listening along. This week on the show, we welcome Jane Kellock. We're talking all things farming there in South Australia, Jane's industry roles, as well as chatting through LambEx. Jane's been on both the previous and current committees that are driving the program at LambEx. I've had the pleasure of working with Jane and the rest of the task force in the last year or so to put together a fantastic program for LambEx. We're really looking forward to that. You're about to hear about all of that coming up in this interview, as well as obviously Jane's farming life out there with Greg, her husband, as well as some industry roles. Let's welcome Jane Kellock onto the show. Welcome, Jane, to Head Shepherd.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have a chat, Jane. We're normally catching up at some sort of task force meeting. It's been an interesting ride over the last 18 months. Before we get into chatting a bit of LambEx, it'd be good just to hear about where you are in the world and your farming operation out there in Farrell Flat. Not many people might know where Farrell Flat is.
Probably for very good reason, too. In the mid-north of South Australia, so 2 hours north of Adelaide, we're mixed farmers, so cropping and sheep. Of course, I love the sheep side of the business, and others in my family probably don't as much. And a few of the younger ones with diesel in their blood. So, with the way prices are at the minute, they're starting to get a bit more interest back into them, which is good. So we've been my husband's a farming business, and I originated from the Flinders Ranges, so sheep station in the Flinders in the north of the state.
Yeah, righto. So all Merinos out there, or a bit of a combo?
Yeah, we're all Merinos. We're RWS accredited. We haven't mules for over 20 years now. So, and that was a strategic direction the family took a while ago. It just felt like that it was the right direction to go. But, we've seen some real production benefits from not doing it. We're a reasonably harsh climate here, Ferg. Like, people don't think of South Australia as being cold, but I can assure you it's fairly cold and miserable here in the winter, and that's when we're lambing down. So we need to have the right genetics, and they don't need that extra bit of mulesing on them for the survival side of things. So that's been a real focus in our business, is to get those animals to survive.
Yeah, it's a great combo you got out there. Nice and dry, nice and cold. It's really people don't actually. I certainly didn't. I certainly didn't have any appreciation for the altitude that you can kind of get up to out there, which is obviously why it's cold. So it's a fairly tough environment. So talk us through. I don't know, 20 years is a long time to be not mulesing, so I'm sure that's sort of faint memory now in terms of what that change was like, but I guess a lot of people have concerns about what that might mean for their business. Obviously, you've sailed on and haven't disappeared, so that's worked all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been, there's been some challenges, there's no doubt about that, but, we've really focused in on the genetic side of things, and to be honestly truthful, it was a couple of LambExes that we went to that really sort of changed our direction, not around the mulesing side of things, because we'd already made those decisions, but it was very much around that lamb survival and the focusing on that and how we could do that. What were the things that we could use? Really using ASBVs to make sure that we're making really smart decisions around our genetics. We had a really clear focus on what that looked like and what we wanted to see. So it was all those things, I think. all come together. But certainly the real kick up the bum was at a couple of LambExes, because we went home, we had a look at, what our waste was and what does that mean for our turnover and all of those things. So, yeah, and probably haven't stopped learning since then. So we've been, on this journey of making sure that we've got the best knowledge and research around, how can we improve this? Because I think that waste is huge.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's, when we add it up, it's the opportunity cost, I suppose, that really excites me as much as it annoys me the waste is there. And
and I get thrown at me quite a bit, if we do what we do, we don't get the wool cuts or whatever, well, I'd question that. I'd also say a dead sheep, you're not earning much off either. If they're alive, at least you can earn something off them. So that's the other side of it. So, and, we've had a real focus in on meat as well, and we believe we've got an animal that can produce really great wool, but really great meat as well, which is important.
Yeah, those dual income streams are pretty phenomenal at the moment, with both wool starting to look tidy and meat being at the top of its game as well. Mutton, lamb, wool all looking quite good. So I'm sure you're feeling quite comfortable out there. If just that will decide to rain when it needs to, I'm sure that will. It's got all the hallmarks of a great outcome. Talk us through, I guess, your approach the last few years. It's been horrible in South Australia for a couple of years, really. There's no other really words. You can't really sugarcoat it much better than that. I guess strategies you've had to use. Maybe talk us through how that genetic program has sort of served you in these tough years.
Yeah, awful. So probably an understatement, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's been pretty tough. What I'd say is, and probably for 3 years, Ferg, so be really keen to have a reasonable one this year. It's not actually looking like that it's going to shape up that way either. But look, our strategy has been, yes, the genetics certainly have got us through a fair bit, and I think there's a few things when we're looking at making decisions in our business, it's very holistic. So it's got to meet your people. Ultimately, that's got to be the big thing. Your finances, you're making sure you're looking after your animals. You've got to meet your markets. It's all of those things that are taken into consideration, and especially our landscape as well. We really want to make sure that our landscape is, not blowing away. So, that it's got to be here for future generations. So it's really important that we're considering all of those things. We fed, I don't know how many tonnes of grain and hay and whatever out. And then we've been very lucky, though. More lucky you make your own luck, I think. We've got a market that we have for our ewes. So every excess ewe that we can produce, we sell to a guy in New South Wales. And he just contacted us and he said, look, how can we help? Because I want you back into full production, because, I want you to continue to supply us with the ewes. So he took a couple of older age groups for us, which just lightened our load. We had a younger genetics, and we had our young rams that we were able to really make some strategic decisions around the sort of stock that we wanted, and which is going to progress us further. And in the back of my mind, I'm hearing Mark Ferguson saying, you only have so many choices of our hand.
That's right. Make good ones.
Make good choices. So, they're the sort of things that I think that really, because we're learning that, we're having those conversations with you and others, that you are making those decisions that are going to give you the best outcome. And we've gone into mating this year. The ewes are in fantastic condition, and we've got a lot of, nearly 2/3 of our flock now are maidens or younger, because we're mating our ewe lambs as well this year, just trying to get that turnover happening. Yeah. And of course, to do that, we're like, we've just done preg scanning, and, hope to hell it's going to be good. But because we haven't got those old ewes, it's not out of this world, but it's still great. and knowing, those genetics will flow on, and we've got a really young flock to go forward. We can again make some really hard choices when we've got selection to force those choices to happen. So we want to be in the. No ewe gets a second chance on our place, Berg.
Yeah, good.
So if they're not producing, they're gone. And so those choices are easy to make when you've got those young sheep that are really good quality coming through and the right genetics. So we felt like we made really great strategic decisions that were going to help everybody, our pocket, our people. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that mindset of taking that time to make good decisions, is that something that always been in the business, or something you sort of a muscle you had to work on in terms of, I guess it's easy to get into, not easy, but you get into tough situations and you just start making decisions off the cuff. I guess, was there already a trigger point in the back of your minds when things get tough, we do this, or how has that been working?
So we actually have policies around drought policies. So we get to a certain point, we have a hit list of stock. What are the stocks that go first? All of those sorts of things. So we do that when we're in a really good year. So you're making really smart decisions when you're not under pressure. So we've done that work previously. I think we've been involved with Farm Owners Academy, so they make you think really strategically as well. And before that, we were involved with Pro Advice. So and we had a farm advisor. So who was chairing our meetings and stuff, because we had 3 generations. And so we're back to 2 generations now, but you're still having that conversations and communication and being really strategic about those decisions. So putting those decisions through our budgets and, not just 1-year budget, but 5-year budget. How does that look? What's the impact of that? Yeah, being business-minded rather than just reactive, I guess.
Yeah, that was the answer I thought I might get. So that's excellent. It takes, and I think the point you made around, you got to make these decisions when things are good. It makes that decision when things aren't going well. It makes it a lot easier if it's already been made when you're sort of sitting comfortably and can eyeball each other and work out what is the best strategy, and then just you only have to press play on it, which is a lot easier than coming up with a strategy on the run.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's valuing the time to take the time to make those decisions and to sit in a room and work through them. People don't see that as work, but I'll tell you what, when your back's to the wall, it's the best decision you'll ever make is to sit in a room when you're really comfortable and in a good spot and you can make those decisions really clearly.
Yeah, well put. I guess in addition to your role running a farm business, you've had lots of industry roles, and I'm not well enough researched to know what they all are, but I know that a couple of on currently, which is around LambEx and the previous LambEx as well. I guess if we'll go high level to start with. Yeah, I guess what about those sort of industry roles excites you, or what? Yeah, I guess what has led you into that, or is it sort of last person standing and you ended up on committees, or?
I do wonder that sometimes, or the token female.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't going there. Yeah.
Look, I've had held a lot of positions especially in the sheep industry, and I've loved it. I've loved the people. I love being really strategic. I guess, Ferg, that's the other part of it, and it's great to make decisions and not have to implement them. If that makes sense.
That's how I try to run my life. It doesn't work out that well, but yeah.
No, exactly. Well, mine either. Look, I think it's really, because I'm the implementer here, so that makes it difficult. So for me, I love the people and I love the industry. And my first role probably was the South Australian Sheep Industry Fund, and I could sort of see things, and then, I was asked to go on to some MLA things, and from there, was involved in the first LambEx in South Australia, which I absolutely loved, and it was just so fantastic to see the whole of the value chain come together and have an amazing experience, but we all learned so much. And from there, that LambEx committee from South Australia then became the South Australian Sheep Industry Blueprint, which I also chaired, and it was just fantastic because we were being really strategic about our industry, and we achieved a lot, and we got a lot to happen. And so that's the really satisfying part of it. It takes up a lot of time, so that's an impact on your business and yourself personally. And to be honest with you, and this is a terrible thing to say, but COVID was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because flying, sometimes I was flying interstate twice a week. That was hard work. So now, I think there are probably some younger people with some new thoughts and processes, which is just fantastic to see. The new people that are on the LambEx task force now. I love the fact that it's a national committee, and so we're bringing people from everywhere and their ideas, what they're seeing. So that's fantastic. We absolutely want to make sure that it's national. And I just get so much energy and information from having people, and it was probably a little bit of a selfish thing too, to be honestly truthful, Food, because I tried to go where I was going to hear what all the latest research and stuff was around land survival, or something that's going to help my business as well. So yes, I was giving industry value, but I was trying to get value back for our business as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's that selfish to get a little bit back out of all that extra work. But I guess you mentioned before about some learnings from earlier LambExes. We've set up this year's program to stack it full of producers as well as experts to get as much learning stacked into a couple or 3 days as we can. It's looking like a pretty exciting program again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's like, I'm like, definitely not missing that. And, which breakfast do I select? And, and I'm, you've been part of the decision making, and it's, that's so exciting. And, the producer stories, I think, is where we're all going to find some great value. So, that the experts, absolutely we will. We expect to find value in them. But I've got a mindset, Food, that if I can't learn something from somebody, then that's not about them, that's about me. I think it's really, really important that we go in with open minds and just go and enjoy it, because there'll be some great fun there as well. I've enjoyed being on the fun committee.
Yeah. You and Scotty stole those roles pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking forward to what the fun committee has to offer. But I don't think I've had as much fun in the industry as I had at last LambEx. In 2 days, it was just fantastic, and lots of things to learn as well, and networking opportunities, obviously. But I think the main thing is, like, there's never been a time where the industry's been better than it is right. I mean, obviously a bit more rain would be lovely, but in terms of prices, it's phenomenal. So if we can't celebrate it this year, when can we celebrate it? And it's a fantastic industry that, as you've already said, it's worth celebrating. So really looking forward to getting lots and lots of producers there to share the joy and share the learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got people coming from all over the world, and that be speakers, but also producers. So just networking and talking to those guys, and showing them what our country's got to offer as far as our industry, I think is sensational. I think there's been so much interest in the carcass showcase, so I can't wait to hear and see all of that. And I think if you can't get value out of anything else, you will certainly get value out of that as a producer. Or it doesn't matter actually what part of the industry you're in, to be honest, truthful. I think you'll get value out of it. Yeah,
we're already seeing the interest in, we had a sort of a participant Zoom meeting the other day, and I think there wasn't many missing out of the 50 odd or whatever. They were all pretty much there. So that just shows you how interested people are in getting that feedback. And as an industry, we've been kind of walking that tightrope of wanting feedback for a long time, and it's starting to happen in different parts of the industry, and and great to have all those three processes partnering with us and getting on board to get that feedback through to producers. It's it just takes us to another level again once we can get that data flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you're asking for feedback and you're not going to LambEx, don't whinge about it. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Go on. Don't call Jane.
Get your butt there.
Yeah.
Don't call me.
Yeah. While we're adding value, if there's one habit or practice that you and Greg have sort of put in place in the last whatever time frame you like, that you would love to have in the hands of every sheep producer, what would that be?
As in just as a business or for sheep?
Oh, either way, like practice of lamb survival stuff or business practice, anything that you think that you've sort of implemented that's
condition scoring would be, and just knowing the condition of your animals and what stage they're in and matching it. Just, condition score your sheep.
And I reckon if it's been said once on this podcast, it's been said 50 times, yet we still see people everyone's born, well, most people are born with 2 condition scoring units, and yet, we still, as an industry, struggle to get that fairly basic practice. So it is, it's a good one for sure. Yeah, it's just really hard to, so much positive comes from knowing what's going on in the condition score, whether it's the ewes or the young ewes you're selecting, or the ewes you're retaining, or the way you're feeding those ewes. It's just how much good information comes from a fairly simple and extremely fast process.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, just understanding it and the lifetime view principles, I would say. Yeah.
You are in a mixed zone out there. And you sort of joked at the start, you got a few people in your family with a bit of diesel in their veins, and I think we're starting to hear that, like, everyone's going, oh, maybe I shouldn't have ripped that fence out, or I shouldn't have let the shearing shed fall down, or whatever. There is a bit of interest back in sheep with crop returns looking pretty tight and sheep returns looking pretty amazing. We were due for a rebound, and it's awesome to see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, in mixed zones, there's certainly been, people moving away from livestock, and whether that's sheep or cattle. So it would be great to bring some of that back further. I think we have to be really careful in our industry. We don't lose the skill of, it's not just so easy to go back into livestock. There are some skills and experience that you need to have to do that. So, just even, pastures and, how to manage them in a way so that, you retain them for a long time. Those sort of things that there's, I get quite amazed sometimes around perhaps how little some people have learnt in that space. So, and I'm not saying that we do everything perfectly, because we do not by any stretch of the imagination. It's I don't know. I would love to say that it's coming back, but in our area, I don't see it. Right. People have, like you say, they've pulled the fences out. They no longer have the shearing shed, or they just use sheep for a tool to eat their stubbles or whatever. And then you've got dedicated people like us that, I've got one neighbour that calls them maggot taxis. So you keep telling him he's got the wrong sort of sheep. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's really important that we keep, our next generation understanding the skills and having the skills. So when I say one of my sons definitely has got diesel in his veins, but his very beautiful wife is an animal nutritionist. So
excellent.
And she loves sheep. So good.
Excellent. Did well there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks very much, Jane. Good to have a chat. The question we ask everyone, which is probably the hardest question of the day, and that's, who's the best human you've had the pleasure to learn from?
Yeah. Now, I am going to say the first person that came to my mind actually was Hayley Grosser. I've spent a bit of time with Hayley around money mindset and getting my mind in the right space in this area. And just that mindset stuff, we just don't understand how much of that influences our lives. And I don't know if you know Hayley.
Yeah, we've had her on. So if anyone who hasn't listened to that episode, go back and Google, or go back and find Hayley Grosser, because it's very much worth listening to.
Yeah, so she has been. So I talk to Hayley often, and so she has been the person that's probably turned my world around.
No, so. Cool. Yeah, well, that's a great answer, because I think she's done that for lots of people, and that, I guess for those who are wondering what she talks about. It's lots of mindset around money and just how this supercomputer we have sort of carry between our ears as we keep sort of filling it through with false thoughts and stuff rather than letting it do its thing. And she's really good at helping you work through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
thanks, Jane. Good to catch up today. Looking forward to, next time we'll see you in flesh. We'll be at LambEx, but I'm sure we're going to be chatting on a few digital versions before that. But thanks for all that you've done there and for industry roles. But great to have a chat today. I'm really looking forward to celebrating the sheep industry together.
Yeah, me too, Ferg, and encourage everyone to get a ticket to LambEx.
Yeah, and as I've said at the start, we're into Earlybird closing soon, so if you want to get the good rate, you've got to get in now.
Now's the time.
Thanks for listening, and thanks again to our 3 fantastic sponsors. Heinegger, who are proud world leaders in the manufacturing and supply of professional sheep shearing and clipping equipment. Allflex Livestock Intelligence, part of MSD Animal Health, offer extensive livestock product portfolio focused on animal health management, all backed up by exceptional service. ProWay Livestock Equipment offer turnkey solutions from design through to professional installation and specialise in facilities that are tailored to your specific operation for all livestock species. We thank these 3 great companies for their ongoing support of the Head Shepherd podcast.